The year is coming to an end, so I thought that I would sum up my year. Most of my year was spent on Netflix or Amazon Prime, some online content streaming platform, YouTube. So I thought I would sum up my favorite online web series, stand-up specials, mini-series, all of that in this one video. Okay, let's call it my top 5 favorite online content. I feel like I should start off big. So let's go with Sacred Games. It came, it spun my world around and it left. Sacred Games was like Netflix's ode to India. It's like, now we're putting money into you. Here's the result. Sacred Games is a web series on Netflix based on the book by Vikram Chandra called Sacred Games. It was adapted into a web series by the writers Varun Grover, Smita Singh and Vasant Nath. It was directed by both Anurag Kashyap and Vikramaditya Motwane, and it starred a lot of people. Okay, I'm going to look at my laptop and read out the list. So, Sacred Games starred Nawazuddin Siddiqui, Saif Ali Khan, Radhika Apte, Girish Kulkarni, Neeraj Kabi, Jitendra Joshi, Rajshri Deshpande, Karan Wahi, Amir Bashir, Jatin Sarna, Elnaz Nuruzi and Kubra Seth, to name a few. The premise is that Sartaj Singh, played by Saif Ali Khan, gets a call from one of the main gangsters in Bombay known as Ganesh Gaitonde, played by Nawazuddin Siddiqui, and he says that he has 25 days to save the people of Bombay. And then mayhem ensues. Sacred Games is India's Narcos. I don't know if I'm right. It is on that same scale as Narcos in the sense that it creates a world, a dirty, grimy, sweaty, the bylanes of Bombay. You can smell the sweat of these dirty policemen. To be quite honest, the most successful crime series that we have had is CID. CID. Sacred Games breaks every single mold that you would think. It has sex, it has nudity, it has gore, it has blood, it has a lot of galis, but it's not there just to kind of shock you or spite you. It's there to add to the world that you're in. I feel it has started like a new age of Indian online content, and the fact that it's streaming worldwide puts India on the Netflix map in a sense. To follow Sacred Games, Netflix came up with a mini-series known as Ghoul. Ghoul was written and directed by Patrick Graham. It's a series of about 6 episodes, mini-series, and it starred, I'm going to look at this once again, Radhika Apte, Manav Kaul, Ratnabali Bhattacharjee, Mahesh Balraj, SM Zahir and many more. It is based in a dystopian world where Hindu fascism is ruling. I don't know how best to describe it because there's not one sentence that can fully sum up what this entire thing is about, but the premise is that Radhika Apte is trying to prove her allegiance to this country where she's an outsider because she's a Muslim by joining the special forces and what ensues after she gets recruited. Ghoul is special because I think it's one of the first time we have seen a dystopian world being created on screen successfully. And I don't mean movies like Rudraksh. Like Rudraksh is not dystopia, it's delusion. Just as most dystopian fiction is, this too is a comment on society. So this social commentary is kind of bound up in a nice little package with horror and supernatural forces so as to sort of distract the viewer from the fact that it's hitting and asking all the right questions, but at the same time giving you entertainment and a lot of heart palpitations. Okay, now we come to slightly more happier stuff, less horrific. Salt, Acid, Fat, Heat. I don't think that's the name. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Every time I keep changing the order. Okay. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat is a documentary series which is hosted by Samin Nusrat and is based on her book, which is by the same name. The book basically tells you that if you can master these 4 aspects of cooking, salt, fat, acid and heat, then you can make any dish good. and the entire documentary series is concentrated on these 4 aspects. And she goes to 4 countries which are specifically known and are experts in these 4 elements of cooking. And if you love cooking, and if you love traveling, and if you have a little bit of a wanderlust in you, and this constant desire to escape the real world like I do, watch the series, because it's not just supremely eye-opening in terms of like looking at food differently, but also Samin Nusrat is a fantastic host. She's happy, she's passionate, she's so excited about what she's doing. She's like a little child in a candy store and you just want to be her friend. But also, it takes you to parts of Italy, parts of Japan, parts of Mexico, which you would have never seen before. And it does kind of create that little German side of you going, yeah, maybe even I want to be a travel show host. But that just might be me. Even if you just want to see beautiful shots of food and of the countryside, fantastic show. Okay, next is a comedy special by Hannah Gadsby, which is called Nanette. Hannah Gadsby is a comic from Tanzania, and her special is genuinely special. If you watch it, you're crying, you're laughing, you don't know why you're crying, you don't know why you're laughing. This special was supposed to be her final comedy special. She was supposed to leave comedy after this. Because of the success of Nanette, I think she's continuing with her comedy career. But there aren't enough words to describe what this special is about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out 1-line or 2-line description that Netflix has. Australian comic Hannah Gadsby reshapes standard stand-up by pairing punchlines with personal revelations on gender, sexuality and childhood turmoil. I don't even know. It's like stand-up comedy, motivational speaking, and like a session with your therapist all mixed into one. Last but not the least on my list, wow, that's a lot of alliteration, is Marvelous Mrs Maisel. If you've met me in the last 2 weeks, you would know I'm obsessed because season 2 just came out in December. Marvelous Mrs Maisel is a show that's been created by Amy Sherman Palladino, I hope I pronounced that properly. And it stars Rachel Brosnahan, Alex Borstein, Michael Zegan, Maren Hinkle, Tony Shalhoub, Kevin Pollak and many more people. Marvelous Mrs Maisel is set in New York in the 1950s, 1960s. It is centered around Midge Maisel, who is Mrs Maisel, who is played by Rachel Brosnahan. And it's about how she finds out that her husband is having an affair and she becomes a stand-up comic. It's such brilliant writing. Like in the beginning when you're watching it, it doesn't really hit you as to, you're just enjoying it so much. But then later when you look back at it, you're like, there is a joke every minute. How do you write like that? It's spunky. I've never used that word in my life. It is smart, witty, silly. It's just a feel-good experience. That, my dear friends, is on Amazon Prime, unlike everything else I just mentioned. I feel like I need to make an honorary mention because Narcos season 4 is out and they've moved to Mexico this time. I have not finished it yet, but I felt like an honorary mention was required. Alright, so that was my top 5. I'm going to link below all the shows that I mentioned, and that's about it. So like, share, subscribe and comment below and let me know what shows you have loved. Thank you for watching. Go check out my other videos. Bye bye. Love you. I need an outro. Suggest. But maybe I should mention that I've been watching Splitsvilla. Okay, yeah.